Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing okay. Today I wanted to do like a proper sit down planner / notebook update and catch up. My last proper one was called How I Use My Notebooks, and I've changed almost everything since then. So I wanted to update you because I think this time I'm like really happy with it. I know I say that every time and everyone says that every time. But this time I feel like I've really cracked it, and it's a very like adaptable system, if you will. So I'll explain. Originally I had been using this A6 Hobonichi Teco Avec as a planner, and then I'd been using this plain Hobonichi notebook as my commonplace book. And I thought that was working well for me. The problem I had with this system was that I was often falling behind in my planner, and then I was not progressing very quickly through my notebook. So by the time I had done 6 months in here, I had really only done like 30 or 40 or something pages in this one. And I had a lot of blank space in this one, which was frustrating. So I ended up, I don't know when, it was when I was meant to be moving into the second book of this half. So the July to December of these books. I decided I would do my commonplacing and my planning all in one book, and I really only stuck that out, I think, for a couple of weeks or a month maximum before I changed. But when I was planning in here, I was doing my to-do list on the left-hand side and then my journaling on the right-hand side, and I thought that was working well. At the top here I was tracking habits, but I found that the biggest problem was that when I turned the page, I wasn't remembering to migrate tasks, and I was having a really hard time with not being able to have like a weekly overview. It just wasn't working. I'm autistic, so sometimes I just have issues with keeping track of things and that sort of thing. So I really quickly realized that when I started to struggle with stuff, I wasn't keeping on top of it, and the system was no longer working, basically. When I was doing okay, I was keeping on top of it fine, but as soon as I wasn't doing okay, it was falling apart, and I wasn't being productive. I wasn't keeping track of anything, whether it be like my to-do list or my habits, and I was getting these big gaps in my notebook, but also in my memory, like I was losing time. So it wasn't ideal for me in the end, and I ended up moving into the Hobonichi weeks. I knew that I wanted to stick with Hobonichi because the care and detail in the books and the quality of the paper and stuff was something that I was really happy with. So I wasn't interested in going back to a blank notebook or anything. I just needed to try a different format. So I moved into Hobonichi weeks, and I moved... Sorry if I'm a little breathless. I actually tried to film this yesterday, but my asthma has been playing up. So when I'm talking, I can't really keep my breath long enough. So just bear with me if I sound a bit wheezy. So I moved into my Hobonichi Weeks book in August, somewhere around the 15th of August, I guess. And this is working much, much better. And now I'm going to be sticking with this through the new year. So I'll explain how I use this book, and then I will explain what I'm doing to supplement pages. And then I'm going to open something really exciting. And then I'll explain how it's all going to work together to be my new system. So in my Hobonichi Weeks book, which I am like 100% happy with, I don't want to change from this book, I am keeping track of like appointments, cancelled appointments apparently. I had a lot of those in September by the looks of it. So I'm keeping track of appointments, birthdays, people visiting, that kind of thing, meeting friends. On the left-hand side, I've actually been collecting quotes about the month. I just think it's kind of nice, and there are so many nice quotes about specific months that I just started collecting them kind of by accident. And now I kind of like doing that. I'll often write little bits about how the month is going or how it's feeling, and I do quite minimal decoration with stickers because it just gives you something to look at and to decorate, but then I try to do it sort of quite minimally so that I still have room to write in appointments and everything else if I need to. I normally will decorate my monthly pages in like the middle of the month so that I still have room to write my appointments in. I never want to decorate in advance and cover up spaces that I might end up needing, so all the decoration goes in after the dates have passed, basically, if that makes sense. At the bottom here, I was collecting the books that I was reading. I read a lot of books in August, So I was collecting them on this side where there are already checkboxes drawn in, and then I moved over to the other side when I ran out of room. And I kept doing that for the rest of the month. For September I didn't read as many, so here I just did some writing. And again with the stickers. And again for October, same thing, books, quotes, birthdays, appointments, and some cute little stickers. So that's how I'm using my monthly pages. I haven't done anything for November yet because I just haven't needed to yet. It's been a pretty quiet month, but I'll probably spend a couple of days this week catching up with that, to be honest. I'm really happy with how these look. I like the writing and the minimal stickering and stuff. I'm really happy with it. So I will continue to do this in my new book, which starts in December. And then moving on, oh my god, into the weekly pages. So for my weekly pages, I haven't really changed how I've been laying it out since I started. I've been in here now for a few months rather, a number of weeks. How did I end up with a pen smudge there? This week's is kind of empty, I will say, please don't judge. I just have been kind of busy and I've not really been keeping on top of things. It's just been a lot of small household tasks like laundry and hoovering, so there's not been a lot to write about or keep track of. It's literally just been really mundane tasks because I basically had the week off. So how I'm using these spaces, I think maybe when people see all the writing it throws them off, but it's not complicated, I promise. On the left hand side in these spaces, I'm just journaling. I will write about like how I'm feeling or if I have headaches, how the week is going, the things I'm thinking about, that kind of thing. It's literally just brain drain is what I call it, brain dumping. It's just journaling. I call it brain drain because I really like the Ramones and they have an album called Brain Drain. So just in case there's anyone out there who's like, that's a niche reference, yeah, you're right. It is a Ramones reference. And then on this side, the right hand side, super simple. Up here I have my like daily habit tracking. This is the exact same task list that I had in these books. I've just moved it over because those are my general daily tasks. It's things like drinking water and like a lot of autistic self-care and stuff, and walking my dog. And then under this now, what has really changed things for me is my task master list. So it's just a running list of tasks that I need to do that week, and then I can correlate like on the day of the week that I do them in, I just put a check. This not only allows me to view all of my tasks all the time throughout the week, but it also lets me start a task and then come back to it. And I just like, it's not particularly groundbreaking, but it was the change that I needed to really like maximize my productivity and like take better care of myself and just manage my existence better than I was. So when I say maximize productivity, I really mean that in like a very gentle autistic sense. I mean that it helps me remember to do things like my laundry and answering my work emails, keep on top of illustration tasks and shop orders, that kind of thing. I don't mean like girl bossing, task mastering, like that's not what I mean. I literally mean like it helps me look after myself and do the things that I need to do to survive. This isn't like a work hard channel. This is like a look after yourself channel. So that's what that allows me to do, is just to be able to consistently see everything at once. Like I like having everything on these pages because I can't lose them. I've spoken about this in the past and regular viewers will know, but I do have issues with my memory, like chronic issues that are really difficult to deal with. I lose a lot of time, that kind of thing. So having everything in one space for the whole week is really helpful. Underneath my task master list, I will normally just do some writing or something. Sometimes I'll just have stickers, sometimes I'll leave it blank. But basically when it's done, I'll normally just draw a line under. It's just a nice way to wrap up the week, to like underline, I guess. I'm not sure when I started doing that. I think it just keeps it neat as well. And then the last thing is just at the bottom here, I have watching and reading. So I'll write down the things that I watch in the week and also the things that I'm reading. It just helps me keep track of when I'm starting and finishing books mostly, because I always forget to do that. I just read them and put them away, and then when I'm updating my Goodreads and stuff, I just can't remember what happened or when. So It's just nice. And then when I flick back through, it's nice to be like, oh, this is when I was watching The Sandman. Like, I really enjoyed The Sandman. It's nice to see. So that's how I use it. In terms of sticking things in these pages in this book, I try to keep the sticking in quite minimal because it's not about that. But I do like to do a bit of decoration just to help break up all the text. And actually, if I can, I prefer to stick on this side to break up this text rather than sticking on this side, which will seem contradictory when I show you the pages, but that is what I hope for. For example, I really like this with the sticking in on this side and then more writing around it. I think this is like the prime the prime spread. I like this. I like how this looks more so than this. But often I stick somewhere around the middle, which I don't love, so I don't know why I keep doing it, but there we go. Nothing changes, it's just the same setup consistently across. The one thing I started doing eventually was adding this yellow mark for important tasks, and they were normally work tasks. And then I think sometimes I use maybe a purple one for personal tasks. Yeah, okay, for a minute I thought I imagined it. So this was a personal task. I needed to reschedule an appointment, so that was purple because it wasn't work related. So I'll just show you what I have in here because it's not been that long, and you can see that it's the same thing every week. It's just decorated differently with different amounts of writing and different amounts of tasks. I'm really happy with this system. This is working really well for me for managing my weeks. A lot more efficient than trying to keep up in either of these books was. So a big improvement for me there personally. And that's what's changed primarily from my last update video. It's just that now I'm working in these books and it's working a lot better. There we go. Cute. I get my stickers from a lot of different places. If you're interested in specific stickers, then you can ask in the comments. But I don't know if I can link all of them in the description just because it's so many. Moving on from this, I will show you how I use my note pages. I was testing this all out in a week's mega that I bought at the beginning of 2022 as like a just in case because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I don't really love this book. It's been very good to me. I will say it's been very good to me, but I don't love it. Just colour and stuff wise, and the fact that it's a mega with so many pages, I thought I wanted that. Now I don't think I do, but you'll see why. I'll show you and explain why. But this first. So in my notes pages, something that I get so many questions about is what my sticker key means. And it's super simple and it should be customized for your needs. What my stickers mean don't really matter. Like, it should be customized obviously for everyone who uses a sticker system. But mine personally are green for copied text. So this is commonplacing. And I don't want to have to try and explain it because I feel like I'm not in the headspace to try and adequately explain what commonplacing is, but there's a lot of information on Google. It's a way of keeping information with like a reference system, and it's cool. So this is things like writing out articles, which not only helps me remember what I've read, but also I can keep it for a later date. I just enjoy that. I love the deliberate act of writing things out, and if you're also a notebook person and you're watching this video, that probably also applies to you. It just works well for me. I enjoy it. I like to keep information. I'm like a little gremlin or like a dragon with a hoard, except my hoard is just really tiny words. But commonplacing, so that's what green is for. Blue is for work notes and illustration notes, so that's my job is illustration, but also just other general work notes like video ideas. Basically anything to do with illustration or other work stuff is blue. Pretty self-explanatory. Yellow is miscellaneous personal notes. This is normally just overlapping or overflowing journal entries. Sometimes it's me just thinking out loud to myself. I find this easier to do on paper than in my head, I guess. It just helps me to work out my thoughts if I have to try and word it and think about it like more presently. Orange, God, orange is for autistic Sherlock Holmes. As I said, I'm autistic and regular viewers know what this is, but as like, it's like a therapeutic routine where I'll just write notes about my headcanon of Sherlock Holmes being autistic because Sherlock Holmes is one of my biggest, longest special interests. So I'll just write loops of autistic Sherlock Holmes stuff and I tag that so I can find it. One day I would really like to make a zine, but not anytime soon because I think it'll be a lot of work. Red is just other special interest stuff or autistic information / references. So if I read an article that's about autistic stuff, I might tag it with red and green because it's a copied text from my commonplace, but it's also an autistic reference, and I don't mind overlapping tags where I need to. It just helps me keep track of all the information that I'm hoarding. So I will flick through the pages because, again, there aren't too many. I'm just over 30 or 40 pages, so we'll do a quick flick through and I'll show you how I use my pages. I'm pretty loose with how I do stuff. I don't mind folding things and covering things up and sticking things over things. I've been journaling and keeping notebooks for a long time, so I'm pretty free with how I do stuff nowadays. I'm comfortable, I guess, is the thing with how I work, so I don't mind covering things over and being quite like experimental, I guess, with how I share things or how I arrange things, if that makes sense. I think, again, this is one of the things that throws people off when they look at them and think they're a lot more complicated than they are. But it's just that I've been using all of my books in so many ways for so many years that I just throw things at the page and see what sticks, and I don't mind, I guess. Not literally, obviously, but it's never as complicated as it looks when you understand what it is, because it's just me chatting shit to myself and then tagging the topic and then sticking stuff over. Like, that's all it ever is. And it's neat because my handwriting is really small. I don't even think it's particularly legible. I think it's just small. So in here I collect all kinds of things. Business card, one of mine, photos, stickers from places, my own stickers after I got a new sheet printed. This is when I was thinking about buying a video game that I did actually end up buying and completing, and I had a really great time playing it, but before I bought it I did a lot of research about it. It was really fun. This is when I went to a pumpkin patch with some of my friends. So again, just a little journaly thing with stickers. A sticker from when I got my tarot cards. This is when I started keeping tarot notes, and this is when I started considering, because for the new year I don't have a Hobonichi Weeks Mega, I just have a Hobonichi Weeks, which means that there's like 3/4 less notes pages. It only has like 50 something notes pages instead of like 100, 200 and something. So that's the end of this book currently. Oh, I did this the other day. So I started wondering about what I was going to do for next year because there's a lot less notes pages. So originally what I had done was buy the memo pads for the Hobonichi, and these are designed to fit really neatly in these back pockets without taking up too much room, which is really cool if that's what you want. And I thought that was what I wanted. And then I realized it's not really what I want, partly because these notebooks are really thin. And that's kind of a weird writing experience unless you're using it on top of your existing book. Secondly, because these books come in a pack of 3 and it's red, brown and blue, and they're not even particularly nice shades. They're kind of ugly, which is why I covered this one up. But I don't really want to have to do this every time, and I don't even really like it. So then, like a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago probably, I started thinking, okay, what if I did something else? Like, what if I found a different little memo pad to go with my week's book that I did all my like more general commonplacing in? And what I tried originally was this really tiny A7 Penco notebook, like a reporter pad. But to be fair, when I bought it, I thought it was going to be slightly bigger than this, even though I did measure it out. This was honestly too small. I will now keep this for shopping lists, but I think it's too small to be practical. Like, it's like comically small. If you're familiar with Hobonichi, you know these books are quite small anyway, but this is literally like who is he? So I'm not using that. I did test it for like a week and I did really like it. I loved carrying it around in my pocket, but it's too small. I just don't think it's going to work long term for what I want. So then what I did was fall down a hole as old as time with field notes. These are great little books because they're reliable. The materials used are great. They're really easy to buy in packs. They have a really nice light grid paper, which is great. If you've been with me for a long time, you'll know that I fell out of love with the Leuchtturm notebooks, the 1917. I never know how to say it. I'm so sorry to all the Germans watching. Because the grids got really dark and they were like a dark grey. These are not as light as Hobonichi, but they are like a yellowy green colour, so they don't stand out as badly, and I like that. So I ordered some of these from the journal shop here in the UK, and they arrived a couple of days ago. That's partly why this video is so late, because I was waiting for all this stuff to come, and I was really hoping the timing was going to work out so I could show it to you all. And this arrived today, so I'm really excited to show you what that is. But my field notes book came, and I'm having a truly great time. Like, it's working really well for me. It's the exact same color tag system as in my weeks book. It will be. It's gonna, they go together. They're like a pair. So similar to how I was doing with these two books, because that was working, but now all of my planning, my important life management takes place across one page so I can see it. That's the main thing. And now I have these teeny tiny little books. I'll do a quick flip through. But it's just commonplacing, so I'm keeping information and writing about Sherlock Holmes, and keeping autistic notes, and I'm rambling to myself in my little journal entries, sticking in bits of paper, business cards, exactly the same thing. And I really love this. I really like my field notes books now. Like, this is great. I'm sold on this. Super happy. They only have like 48 pages, which is a really great number. They're not too thick, not too thin. This is like, it's perfect, and I can still carry it in the pocket of my trousers when I go out. So 100% sold. This is the system now, and it's great because, oh, in the back of here I just keep my pencil board and my stickers, just so you know. It's great because even without this cover on, these are a similar size. Obviously it's a lot shorter. But what I didn't want was for this memo pad to overlap the side of the week's book, and it doesn't. And that's fantastic, because what I have in here, I'll show you. I ordered this from, I think the shop is called Cadenta Notebooks on Etsy, and they're based in Spain. And it's a handmade product. It's a cover for my Hobonichi. And it's a traveler style notebook cover, which is really exciting. So I am now basically got the best of three systems. I've got the traveler style notebook cover, the Hobonichi book, and then field notes memo pad. Like, I'm truly living like the best of all three. Like, I feel like a genius. I'm sure other people have done it. Sorry, let me just take the crinkly paper away. I'm sure other people have done it. They've already worked this out. That to have the best of so many systems is great. Like, you know, I'm not saying this is an original thought, but I am really pleased that I worked it out for myself. So this is a handmade vegan leather cover. I haven't opened it yet. It's super soft. I'm really, really happy with it. I love the traveler style notebooks because they get really beat up over time, and that makes them look really loved, and I'm just a big fan. And I actually bought some charms and stuff so I can make my own charms to go on the band. So if you're a regular viewer, I'll do that in the attic archive sometime. Super cute. So the plan is to probably take this out of its cover because I'm not sure it's going to fit. No, don't think so. So the plan, next year when I have my smaller Hobonichi, which I didn't think to bring to the desk for this occasion, which was a bit daft, but I'm going to keep this in here. Ah, perfect. Ooh, fairy. Oh, literally perfect. So nice. But then there's also the traveler style bands. So if I want to, I could put my Hobonichi in with the bands, or I can keep, oh my god, there's so many. I could keep multiple notebooks, you guys. Literally like chef's kiss. Like, I love it. And I can keep my other bits all inside. This will obviously be a lot neater when I've not got a week's book in there. But it all just super, super fits. And I can tuck this in the front, and a pen goes in the loop, and it's literally just perfect. I love it. So this is the plan. This is the system, you guys. I'm so happy with it. And I hope this video was interesting. I hope I covered everything. I think that's everything about my system that I needed to share. At the moment I'm keeping all of my stickers just in this plastic folder that I got from WH Smith here in the UK. It's not really super interesting, but that's where I keep all my stickers and that's how I carry everything around the house all the time. This was the shop, so I will put the link in the description, but also in the little bar at the bottom of the screen. And I will say that I ordered the vegan leather cover and I chose the color, but in my notes, my order notes, I asked for the card slots to open at the top instead of at the side. So if you're interested in a setup like this, then make sure you put that in the notes. And the owner of the shop was really accommodating. It was a really great experience. And I didn't pay any import fees either, which is always fantastic. I'm gonna have a play with this and see how I want to set it up, and I'll keep you updated in the attic archives. If you're not a regular viewer, I hope you enjoyed this. I'll be surprised if you stuck to the end because I talk too much. But I hope this was interesting for anyone who was interested. I hope I explained everything you wanted me to explain. I'm really excited to be working like this in the new year. As an end note, I just want to say I'm super excited about field notes because I actually managed to find one of the field notes archival boxes, and I'll insert some footage because it's a really nice wooden box that you put all of your finished notebooks in and also your unused ones, and then it's such a nice way to store them. I'm really excited. I'm almost halfway through my first notebook. I've only got like 4 or 5 pages. So I just think it's going to be really nice to move through these field notes books quite quickly while keeping my week's book like cleaner, I guess, for planning and for keeping track of things. Yeah, I'm really excited. Obviously, when I started notebook keeping, I was mostly working in the really small A6 Leuchtturm notebooks. So this is a size I'm familiar with, and it's nice to be back in a similar size for my commonplacing. Okay, I think that's everything. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments or you want any products linked, and I will do that for you. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you soon.